G'day everyone, it's SDS SuperCoach, providing SuperCoach content for you. I'm here to present my thoughts on the first night of the AFL more official practice matches for Thursday. So I'm just going to give my thoughts. I'm mainly going to talk more about Collingwood and Hawthorn because I did watch the majority of that game. I did watch it all because I support Hawthorn, of course. Good effort by the boys. We dug in very nicely and a lot of positive signs. Certainly a lot more positives than negatives in my view. So yeah, we'll talk about that. The Brisbane Geelong game's actually happening right now. I've watched a little bit of that, and I didn't watch much of the Fremantle Port Adelaide game. But for those two games, I'm going to judge it more off from what I've heard and all that good stuff. So yeah, look, let's get straight into it. So I guess we are reviewing night one. So let's get into Collingwood to start with. All right, so Nick Dacos, I'd like to talk about him for a little bit. I think most of my defenders just defender premiums. I think I've nailed it down to three, and it is Nick Dacos, Tom Stewart, and Jordan Dawson. And I'm probably going to pick between two of them as my premiums. And I had a look at Nick Dacos. He got tagged. He in a collision, he hit his hand on the fence, and he was feeling his wrist a little bit. So I monitored that. He seemed to be okay, but he did get tagged by Finn McGuinness. Now, that might be more of a thing that we see. I think a lot of sides are going to tag this year and probably tag their most damaging player, and I think that's Nick Dacos pretty obviously. So I don't think he was used to the tag. He did take kick-ins, which was a very good sign. But yeah, I find that I wasn't thrilled with the performance by Nick Dacos. So that's just how I saw it. Still got a bit of the pill, but with a tag, which may come a bit more often this season, wasn't the greatest sight in my view. Let's go on ownership. So there's not really any other defenders I really want to talk about. We'll talk about Tom Mitchell. I thought he was all right in the first half. He did a lot of those classic Tom Mitchell disposals where I think on the run or in live play, he seems to obviously gets the pill regardless of the situation. But when Tom Mitchell would get the pill, if he's taken a mark, he's normally a very nice kick, but just hitting right to a target. But we saw a lot in live play where he was just hack kicking it, and obviously I'm not the biggest fan of that, and we're not for SuperCoach. So, look, I've gone fully off the pick personally. There will be games where he looks absolutely fantastic. But against Hawthorn, probably against the worst midfield in the competition as we speak at this point in time, I don't think he's stood out terrifically, and I think that's a pretty poor sign personally. To go for 5 seconds, he was best on ground in my book. Absolutely amazing, I thought, for Collingwood, and he was just absolutely brilliant. So just really damaging. Got on the outside and just looked fantastic. And yeah, don't really need to talk about many others there. Darcy Cameron we'll talk about for a little bit. I thought he was good, but I saw him he didn't look 100%. He was just kind of wobbling, limping around. Gee, this Brisbane Geelong game's getting a little bit feisty. Brisbane are doing a number on Geelong at the minute. But yeah, I thought Darcy Cameron just didn't look right. But I thought he still played a solid game. But Mason Cox, for me, spending far too much time in the ruck for him to be a valuable pick in my book. And also, obviously, the interrupted preseason. Forward line, look, I think those are only the four relevant Collingwood players we need to talk about. To be honest, three. I'm not sure how much we're going to see out of some of these rookies. I mean, you might consider Bobby Hill, who's a real live wire in that Collingwood forward line, but spent a bit, played his usual position as a deep forward. All right, we'll get on to my boys, the Hawks. All right, down back, James Sicily. I really don't think he cared, and that's fair enough. I'm not too fussed. I probably wouldn't go there as a pick. I just think that's a bit too expensive for a defender for my liking. But look, Sicily, I don't think he really cared, but he played a fine game. Weddle didn't play, I think David Hale said during the week that we expected him to debut at some point during the season, but there was a lot of different talk a couple of weeks ago when it looked like he was more of a lock for round one, but it looks like he might be more of a downgrade option during the year. So that's fine. We're getting a lot of defender rookies, so it's not bad having a couple of these options here. Will Daceman looks like to be one of the guys that is going to be spending a lot more time in the midfield. Would I consider him too much as a pick? I don't know. Will he make enough money? Yeah, I'm not too sure. So, yeah, I'm not going to... He played a very solid game. He looks good in the midfield, but it's just more about accumulating and all that. I still think he's learning his midfield craft in there. For the midfield, wow, this has jumped up by like 5-6% already. Cam Mackenzie, my man. We have to talk about this man. I was pretty hot on him in pre-season, but I just thought in my head, you know what? I think the problem is with him is because a lot of players around his range were, I think, around his price. We just saw players that we just thought, you know what, he'll probably score better. But Cam Mackenzie, I forgot what he scored. I think it was 101. Could even be my guess. But maybe there's a bit of deja vu for people that saw Josh Ward this time last year absolutely dominate the practice match against Richmond in Devonport. Beautiful cause that was, by the way. And I think some people are a little bit scared off by that, but I think there's a couple of things to consider here that's different between Mackenzie and Ward. Mackenzie is a much better user of the footy, and Mackenzie was spending some time in the midfield where to be honest, I don't think I can think anyone off the top of my head where I thought, okay, they're missing someone in the midfield, Hawthorn. So I think Mackenzie's very interesting, and I'll tell you what, he's going to ruffle a few structure feathers with his performance there, and we can already see he's jumped up. And another bloke that's jumped up from what I can tell is James Worpel. Now, he looked very good in terms of accumulating. But I did say to Janeth, shout out to Janeth, he is a very good man. He responded to me on Twitter, what did you think about James Worpel, though? And I just thought, yeah, the stats look good, and that's the main thing for SuperCoach, to be fair. But he still doesn't look like that good of a footballer, I'm going to be honest. But if the opportunity is there, well, gee, he's going to attempt a few SuperCoaches, that's for sure. And he's sort of tempted me, not because of what I think of the player, like as a person watching him just as a player, I'm not too sure on him. But if the role's going to be there and he's going to have that opportunity to accumulate, not a great user of the pill, but if he's, as I said, once again, if he's going to have that opportunity, then he's certainly one to consider. Newcomb, we can touch on him for 5 seconds. You won't make enough money unless you think he's going to be top 12 midfielder all up. So I think that's an issue. If you want to pick Newcomb, go ahead. If you think he'll be top 12, but I won't be going there. Hustwaite looked good. He did look good in little patches in the second half. We have to talk about this man, Lloyd Meek. He looks really good, but that role, if he's going to be playing alongside Reeves, and he did look better than Reeves, I really like what I saw from him, and I was big on him from the get-go. I think he'll be a fantastic player for us in the future. But it's just going to be that ruck-forward split. If they're going to be playing 2 rucks, the Hawks, then I think that's going to be a bit of an issue, all in all. Fergus Green would probably at this stage be my only Collingwood Hawthorn lock, because it's going to be a bad role, but he is going to be spending a lot of time in this Hawthorn side this season, and he'll be given a lot of game time. He'll be one of our best goal kickers this year, so I don't know whether that's a good or a bad thing for the Hawks this year, but he does look really good. I think he kicked 3 or 4 goals, so he looked fantastic. Any others we need to talk about? Dylan Moore was brilliant until he got subbed off. Not due to injury or anything. It was just to rest some players. But yeah. All right. Now we'll very faintly go over some of these other. The Brisbane and Geelong game just finished. That's all right. All right. So Fremantle and Port Adelaide also played this game. All right. So we'll talk about Corey. I know Wagner's not playing. There's only one bloke we need to talk about, Hayden Young. From what I can tell, he got a 79 SuperCoach score. I checked some of the scores before the game, before the recording, and I think he scored a 79. So, yeah, I think I'm off the pick. If I'm going to go with a budget premium defender, it's going to be Nick Dacos. So, yeah, not much else to talk about there. I'm just going to talk about the main blokes here. Andy Brayshaw scored an 85 in the midfield for the Dockers. I think he was real gut running. He's probably him alongside Tukes. They are the best probably two-way runners in the midfield in the competition. They're just excellent. And yeah, I didn't want to pick him, and he didn't really sell me enough at all, to be honest. I haven't heard much of Johnson, so let me know in the comments down below if he did play, but I haven't heard much from him. Sean Darcy, the one period I saw with him, the commentators were always saying, oh, he's getting up a bit sore here, and then in the first quarter, he was just recovering from an eye. This bloke just loves an injury, and that is a pure shame. He's a bit too injury prone for my liking. If there's at any period where in the second half of the season where I need to pick up another ruck, Darcy is going to be well and truly into my consideration. Now, there's two blokes I'll talk about here. One is Sam Sturt. I thought, from what I saw, looked really good, and he also scored an 80 on SuperCoach. So hopefully that's enough of a sign to just include him into games into the future, and hopefully he can be a round one option. We don't need a forward rookie. I think we've got a couple here, but it would be nice and handy. And I think if he became an option, he'll be very interesting. Nat Fyfe, I believe, scored an 88 playing deep forward, kicked 3 goals. I'll tell you what, he's really got back into my frame of mind of thinking, oh, gee, maybe he actually won't be a bad pick. I know he's going to be playing deep forward, but it's Nat Fyfe. It's Nat Fyfe. And if he can just kick a bag of 3 or whatever, like that doesn't sound that bad for Nat Fyfe as a player to kick 3 goals in a game. And I think their fixture's really soft early. I think St Kilda, who I think will struggle early. They've got North Melbourne as well, I think, in the first 2 rounds. So he could really build up some cash there. And that's why I'm really low-key considering the man Nat Fyfe. All right. I should probably go a bit quicker with this, actually. I've been trying to shorten my videos. Port Adelaide. All right, let's get into Port Adelaide. So there's really no one to talk about down back for Port. We'll save Rosie and Butters. Let's just remove one of these. Scott Lysette scored extremely poorly. Didn't look that good from what I heard, and I was never really considering him, to be honest. I even saw the pair tweet during the game. Teakle R1, first ruck. And you can already just tell how bad Lysette performs when someone like that, when the pair says something about that. The forward line, yeah, we may as well just get into the big boys. Zach Butters, I don't think played, so I wouldn't bother about him. Or maybe he did play, but even if I didn't hear much of anything about him. Didn't hear much about Sin. Horn Francis, I think he scored a 70, struggled a little bit. I mean, he's a second-year player, so we just got to cut him some slack. And we'll just mainly talk about Connor Rozee from Port Adelaide. Looked, I did end up still watching like 10 minutes of this game. He still looked fantastic. So he's firmly into my contention for being a forward premium for me this year. If he's continuing playing in the midfield, which it seems like he is, he's going to be an absolute superstar of the competition. One of the best young guns in the comp. And I'll quickly just touch on a couple of these players for Brisbane and Geelong. The game literally just finished, so I won't have too much info on them just because, I mean, what's the time? It is 10:50. I just want to get this video out. I promise you guys I'd upload a video every day. Jack Bowes didn't play, so I find that concerning. Whether that's a calf issue or whatnot, I've heard little lingers about that. So, I mean, if I have to pick him, I could, but he's not really on my radar at this point in time. Tom Stewart, I'm sure he did Tom Stewart things. I'm not concerned about him at all. I really like that he isn't captain, so he can just continue playing his game, not worry about the extra stuff. Have we got anything in the rucks? We'll save Radagolea for the forwards. Cats. Tanner Bruin's getting a little bit of noise. Apparently played a really nice role in the centre bounce attendances. I just not sure if I can trust Chris Scott, whether they'll be consistent. You know what I mean? All right, forward line. We've got one player to talk about here. It's the Sava Radagolea. Seems like he was playing the exact same role that he did. Now, obviously, the Brisbane-Geelong game scores for SuperCoach haven't fully come out yet. So I'm not going to talk about scores here and all that for this game. But Radagolea still looked like he did a very solid job down back with Jack Henry now out for the medium term for the Cats. I think Radagolea is going to get a good run at centre half back, which is a much better role than full forward. And we will move to the Brisbane Lions. As I said, unfortunately, I just wanted to get this video out. I just haven't seen enough, but Wilmot, I'm sure, played fine. I heard Dwayne Russell just say that Connor McKenna looks like he's certainly on the radar for round one. I'd love to hear your instant thoughts from you guys about some of these players because I've had to record this video, but it's all good. Will Ashcroft, I did still watch a bit of this game, and Will Ashcroft, I was saying to my mates, he looks like a 7-year vet out there in an 18-year-old body. He's just unreal. So that's great. I'm sure Josh Dunkley as well still looks fine. Let's go back in here. Chalky Neal, I'm not sure if he played. If he did, I didn't hear too much or see too much of him. I should have remembered the site. Sorry, guys. Bit of poor research on my end, but I'm sure I still love you all subscribers. So, look, that'll do me. Look, I'll refresh this and it'll be the current side that I've had for a little bit now. So, thank you guys for watching. By the way, Nick Caulfield's not playing tomorrow, so I'm officially off the pick there. So, I'll change it. I'll change it probably tomorrow. No, I'll any changes I do to my side will be after the preseason games, and you guys won't be able to see that because I want to save it for the big reveal, for my team reveal. Probably, I would say, what are we thinking? Probably the Tuesday before the Carlton Richmond game. So that's what I'm thinking. So thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe. We're trying to hit 1,000 subs before round 1 2024. That'd be fantastic. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers.